What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stay Tuned. This is the first time that you guys get to see mine, and I can't touch him, but he's over here somewhere. Say hello, Tom. That way, right there.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, first off, we'd like to welcome you guys all to episode 9. This is Top 10 Gaming Franchises Part 2, carried over from Blog Talk Radio, where we initially started our podcast. But we decided we didn't want to be tied down to 30 minutes to talk about something that we just love so much. So, anyways, we're just going to start off with number 5, and we're just going to see how far we can get. Because you know what? We don't have a time limit, but we also don't want to bore you guys to death. It's all about you, and I guess I'm going to get used to this. I'm pointing at my fridge, but I know that's Tom over there. All right. So, Tom, how's your week been, man?
Oh, it's good. It's better now that work is over, but it was a pretty good week overall. Not too bad.
Awesome. So I do want to apologize if you guys hear a bunch of screaming in the background. I swear it's nothing crazy is going on in my house. It's just my wife is trying to get my son to bed, and it's been a rough day. All right. So anyways,
Son's 17.
yes.
Quite a lot.
Yes, he's 17 years old, and he still cries whenever he goes to sleep.
Yeah.
But anyways, so if you were listening to introduction music, obviously, I think everybody knows what number 5 is going to be for both of us. Tom?
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear. So,
Metal Gear Solid specifically.
yes, the Metal Gear Solid series. There is the Metal Gear Rising. I played it. It's not for me. If they would have called it something else, I would have loved it. But I know you did like it. So, Tom,
Yeah.
where does your Metal Gear love actually start? I guess. What was your first game?
So my first game for Metal Gear that I ever saw was Metal Gear Solid. My cousin Anthony uh, would play that game over and over and over again. That and like Resident Evil, all the classic PlayStation games. But the first one that I really got into was actually Metal Gear 3 when it was released in the HD collection on the PS3. Um, Back when I had a Vita, which is kind of not very good system, but I actually had to travel for work, and I was able to use the transfarring or whatever they called it to play it on the Vita, and I loved it. And then pretty much after that, I just like blazed through every single one of the Metal Gear games. I loved them all, but specifically Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yep,
What
yep.
about you?
My first Metal Gear was the original Metal Gear Solid. The thing that I thought was so great about it was just, at the points when I thought the game was over, it just kept going and going and going. But it was just I just wanted to keep playing it. I remember just renting it from like Blockbuster Video, but it it just took me so like I was like, oh my god, I got to Ocelot. It's great. This is awesome. What's gonna happen next? But then it just keeps going and going, and I mean, if most people have probably played the game at this point, but uh, the thing that I love about it so much is just how connected you become to all the characters, how much they intertwine with each other, and it's not just about Solid Snake or one particular person. It's about everybody. But so if you had to, where did you go after the first one after watching your cousin? Like, what's probably your favorite one so far? I guess.
I would say it's 3. I really like the story of 3. It's a lot more grounded than 2 and 4, which I love the zaniness of 2 and 4 and how completely out there it gets. But number 3 just felt like Snake Eater just felt like a really good action movie, like a really good spy movie. I really liked I really liked Big Boss. I really liked the boss. All the enemies were really good. The bosses, I mean, they were all really crazy. But that was my favorite by far, and I really like the CQC stuff. Also, I did see you trying to flip to the video of me blowing myself up with a rocket, which I'm good at. I never killed myself with a rocket in Metal Gear Solid 3, so it's my favorite.
Yes, yes. So nobody else can see this yet, but I'm trying to do. This is a lot. I'm new at this, so I'm sorry if this is all jumbled up a lot. But I'm trying to show you guys a little bit of video, show you guys a little bit of us, and just keep it interesting, I guess. So Tom did mention something. I would like to just show this to the world. And Tom, I'm sorry, but it must be
Go
done.
for it. It's pretty funny.
So I was at Tom's house. What was this, Sunday, right? And
Yeah, last Sunday.
This is your first playthrough of Metal Gear Solid, and I'm halfway
Yeah.
watching you play as we stream this, and well, it gets pretty good. Just here it comes.
First
Here
of
it
all, I
comes.
messed up, which it was why was it right there? I should have known. And here it comes. Yes, my death.
Oh
This
yes.
is I'm notorious for this in Halo, like Metal Gear Now, Destiny, any game that's got rocket launchers. I'm gonna kill myself with it.
Yes. So that was just something else. So
Yep.
I would say my favorite Metal Gear Solid is definitely still the original one. The video we just saw of Tom playing and just
Yeah.
failing miserably at. Actually, it's pretty funny though. I loved it. It is it's my favorite because it's my first. It's just one of those, you know, you always remember your first. So Metal Gear Solid, just I remember renting it from Blockbuster. Like I said, I think the first night I got to through the hangar from the basement up to the top, and I'm like, I've made it so far, and it was like 30 seconds now what I can do
Right.
today. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's absolutely nothing, right? But sorry, I'm just laughing thinking about that now. And then like
Yeah.
it was like a day by day progression because I think Blockbuster was like 5 day rentals or something like that. So it was like then day two I got inside and I got to Revolver Ocelot, and then there was that nice little hint they gave you where it's like contact Meryl. Her codec her codec information's on the back of the case, and I'm just like, what case? And I had a CD that I got from I believe it was like either President Irons or somebody, and I kept trying to inspect it, kept trying to use it 5 million ways. Yeah, then they just said codec, so I just went through every single codec that there was. Luckily, it was only 140.15, so it was really early on, and I wasn't sitting there for like 6 hours trying to go and go and go. But yeah, just the first time I got through the story, there was a lot of like heartache, and you know somebody's trying to kill you, and you kill them, but you still just feel really bad about it. I don't think you've encountered her yet, but Sniper Wolf was that way.
Yeah. I'm right on Sniper Wolf right now.
Yeah,
I
so
have to go get a sniper rifle.
you know I can tell you where to get it at, but I'm not going to. I'm gonna let you figure it
Yeah,
out.
I forgot where, so I'm gonna be running around for a while.
Yeah, so there's the second fight with Sniper Wolf. It's just the way that Hideo Kojima just does everything. It's just so perfect, and
He's great.
that's the reason why this had to make my list. So that's my number 5. Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out this year. I cannot wait.
Yes.
I'm still on the fence about Kiefer Sutherland not being David Hayter, but me and Tom were discussing some possibilities, and if Solid Snake is in here with Big Boss and David Hayter makes his return,
It's gonna happen.
I will be ecstatic, and I can't wait. So enough with I'm done with Metal Gear Solid. Tom, would you like to add anything else before we move on?
Yeah, so I've beaten Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and 4. Actually, I've never beaten Metal Gear Solid 1, but as you can see, I was streaming a bit of it. But the controls are a little wonky, just because it's a PlayStation 1 game, and the graphics are obviously dated, but the game still really holds up. Like, it's still a lot of fun. The story's really good. The gameplay's good. So if you've never played it, don't be afraid to play a PlayStation 1 game. Get it on your PS3. Get the PlayStation 1 version. It's cheap at any used video game store, I'm sure. But it's definitely a fantastic entry point if you haven't played any of the Metal Gear games.
Yeah, so I guess while we're on the topic of Metal Gear, how did you feel about playing as Raiden in Metal Gear 2? I don't think you're probably as attached as me to Solid Snake, but I was kind of let down because me and my friend Joe, I've talked about him on numerous other episodes, but we used to play Zone of the Enders because it had the Metal Gear Solid 2 demo,
Yeah.
which was, you know, in my eyes was just fantastic. But actually Zone of the Enders was actually good, but the demo was also
Yeah,
fantastic.
the games are awesome.
But you got to play as Snake, but they pictured Snake in a couple of the videos from like E3 and stuff with fighting like Fortune and Vamp, but then all of a sudden I'm playing as some Dante lookalike before Dante was around, I guess.
California Surfer Bro.
Yeah, exactly. But so I don't think you had the same connection with Snake as I did you?
No, I didn't really care. Like, by the time I'd played 2, it was to the point where Kojima was already known for being just an enormous troll. So
Yes.
I greatly enjoy his sense of humor. So I thought it was great. But the first time I ever saw Metal Gear 2 was like, it was Christmas and my cousin got a PS2, same cousin Anthony, but he had a PS2 and Metal Gear Solid 2, and we were going through the tanker level uh, at our grandparents' house, and I was just watching him in amazement at how beautiful it looked. And then when he got to the part where it was riding, like a day later, I was over at his house. He was very upset. I didn't know what it meant, but he was
Yeah.
extremely upset.
Yeah, it was definitely different. Like, I mean, I didn't mind so much later on, but then you see Pliskin, no, Snake Plissken.
Yes, Iroquois Pliskin.
Yeah, sorry, Snake. I still call him Snake Plissken. Just Escape from New York or Escape
Good
from L.A.,
movies.
whichever one it was. All of the escape movies, I guess. But yeah, it was something else. So, anyways, that's Metal Gear Solid. It's my top five. It's my number five. It's Tom's number five. But this is where we start to part the sea. Yeah, I can do that. You guys
Yeah.
can see it. I can't just talk about it. So, Tom, we'll let you take over. What do you got for number four?
Number 4 is Pokemon. Uh, Pokemon was my first RPG. The first system I ever owned was a Game Boy. And for my birthday, when I got my Game Boy, I got Pokemon and I got Star Wars. Some A New Hope game. It was alright. But I loved Pokemon. Like, I have probably put thousands of hours into all the Pokemon games. Red, I had red and yellow. I had all the second generation ones. I had gold, silver, crystal. I didn't play the Game Boy Advance ones. I played one of the DS ones. I forget which one. I even got one of the remakes of, I think it was Leaf Green, remake of one of the original games.
I'm not a
got the
Pokemon guy. I don't know what you're
3DS
talking
one.
about.
Yeah, they're great. They're real good. Even though I thought, I skipped the Game Boy Advance one, so like, these games are for kids. I like these when I was a kid. Then our Pokemon's just great. It's a really, it's a really good RPG, especially like a beginner RPG, but it's also got a lot of depth to it. It's basic stuff like fire is better than grass, water is better than fire, electricity is better than water. It's pretty simple stuff. But with the amount of different moves and Pokemons and multiple types that each Pokemon have, it gets pretty in depth. And I love those games. I can play those first two series, the Gold and Silver and the Red and Blue, probably with my eyes closed.
See,
I do have beaten those tons and tons of times growing up.
see, I never had played Pokemon. I never had the Game Boy. I was always the console guy, not the portable guy. But I do remember playing it. Whenever my grandpa was really, really sick, back this was like the late '90s. I went to my uncle's house in Kentucky. I live in Indiana. I've always lived in Indiana. Tom does as well. But so I went to Kentucky to my uncle's house, and my cousin, she played Pokemon and she loved it, and she would let me play it on her Game Boy, and I could start a new character and all that stuff, but I could never save. So I pretty much had to start the game over every single time. I never got into it. It I don't have anything against the Pokemon series. I've tried playing it again on the 3DS
So
and on the
good.
DSi, but I can't get into it because I don't have that nostalgia like you do. So
Yeah,
it's just not for me. So my extent with Pokemon, I believe, was Pokemon Red or Blue. I know I picked the Charmander, Charmander guy.
Charizard.
That guy. I picked him every single time just because I was like, cool, dragon with fire. I'll do this. he could beat anything
Yeah.
till I fought
So
water.
A water turtle or a leaf bulb thing or a fire dragon. Yeah, I'm going with fire dragon.
So what else?
But-
What do you feel about the new Pokemons? I guess I know they're still going and still going.
Yeah, so I really liked X and Y. I got Y when it came out, but I really enjoyed them. I thought that it was cool that it finally went to like a 3D looking, game world and everything like that. Like, it was still pretty much grid based, but it was neat that they finally kind of evolved the series